Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. So we have seen the first four chapters now. The first two chapters are called Upadesha Kanda, or it is called Madhu Kanda also, because the Madhu Brahmanam is there, which is a very famous portion of the first two chapters. The Madhu Vidya is taught in that. So that those two chapters or Kanda are also called Madhu Kanda. It is also called Upadesha Kanda because there the Siddhanta is presented. The truth of ourselves as Brahman is revealed by the Shastra without giving any supporting logic or anything. Then the next two chapters are called Muni Kanda or Yajnavalkya Kanda. Because Yajnavalkya is the teacher there. There are many different peoples. In fact, in the third chapter, many people argue with him, debate with him. In the fourth chapter, Janaka is the student and he is teaching. So it is basically the teaching of Yajnavalkya. Therefore, it is called Muni Kanda, or it is also called Upapatti Kanda, because there the supporting logic to assimilate the teaching is also given. But this logic is not something independent, understand? It is Shruti Sammata Tarka, as we say. Shruti itself is presenting it in a way in which we can actually assimilate it easily. So that is what we saw. The four chapters actually complete the teaching of Brahma Vidya itself. Okay, because the Brahma Vidya, you can say, starts from the fourth Brahmanam of the first chapter, and then the Upasamhara is happening. And it already, in fact, the first mantra here, although in this website they are just starting as Om Kham Brahma, in most other books, if you see, the Purna Madaha Purna Midam Shanti mantra comes here only, really speaking. And Bhashyakara also has written a bhashya for that Purna Madaha Purna Midam, the famous mantra we have been chanting for all these classes, correct? All the 248 classes we have chanted the Purna Madaha mantra, the Shanti mantra. In fact, for any Shukla Yajurveda Upanishad or even chanting, that Shanti mantra is the one which is chanted always. The meaning of that Shanti mantra is again the meaning of the entire Vedanta Shastra itself. That's what Bhashyakara will say here. So actually the Purna Madaha mantram is the starting of the Khila Kanda. This third Kanda is called Khila. Khila means it has a meaning of supplement or appendix, like that in the modern context, or even you can call it as a collection. See, the first four chapters had a certain flow in terms of the subject matter. Here, many different things are there in a collection. Okay, mainly upasanas, some karma, then even about values and all. Upanishad is talking here, mostly in the form of sadhana for the Brahma Vidya itself. So that is the introduction to the Khila Kanda. In fact, Bhashyakara also says that Purna Madaha Ityadi Khila Kanda Marabhyate. So the Khila Kanda is started with the Purna Madaha mantra. And that Shanti mantra, the meaning he will give. First he is saying what? Adhyaya Chatushtayena Yadeva Sakshad Aparokshad Brahma Ya Atma Sarvantaraha Nirupadhikaha Ashanayadi Atitaha Neti Neti Iti Vyapadeshyaha Nirdharitaha Yad Vijnanam Kevalam Amritatva Sadhanam Adhuna Tasyaiva Atmanaha Sopadikasya Shabdhartadi Vyavahara Vishayapannasya Purastad Anuktani Upasanani Karmabihi Aviruddhani Prakrishta Abhyudaya Sadhanani Kramam Krama Mukti Bhanji cha. Okay, up to this we'll take. See, Adhyaya Chaturtayena by the 4th chapters, which we have seen already, correct? So, Yadeva Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma, that Brahman which was revealed as something which is directly known without the requirement for any means of knowledge, and which is also the Mukhyam Brahma. It is not something Gaunam Brahma or anything. It is the Mukhya Brahma, which is also revealed as the Atma of everything, correct? Yaha Sarvantaratma, and which is Nirupadikaha, without any conditioning factor by itself. And what is its nature? It is beyond things like hunger and thirst, correct? Ashanayadi Atitaha. And again, how do we know this? Means by negating the entire objective world, neti neti, because it is not available as an object, but it is the very subject, it is of the Swarupa of the very negator. So that's how it was mentioned, correct? Neti neti iti vyapadeshyaha, that which was taught or mentioned as not this, not this. In this manner, it has been ascertained. This Brahma Swarupa, Atma Swarupa has been ascertained, nirdharitaha. And this Atma Swarupa Jnanam itself is the only means for gaining moksha or amritatvam, correct? Immortality, yet vijnanam. So the knowledge of this Brahman, kevalam amritatva sadhanam, means it alone is the cause for amritatva. This Bhashyakara is very particular, correct? Because he doesn't want to mix it with any karma, because in his time, everybody was talking about karma itself as a moksha sadhana or jnana karma samuchaya. They were the majority, I think. So he is very particular about mentioning it again, saying kevalam amritatva sadhanam. So that the knowledge of which has been said, which has been mentioned as the means for immortality. That alone is the means for immortality. Adhuna, right now, what tasyaiva atmanaha, the same atma which is nirupadikaha, which is its swarupa, that itself is now going to be presented as with the upadhis. Sopadikasya Shabdarthadi Vyavahara Vishaya Apannasya, which has now gained Vyavahara, means it is now part of the transactional world. In the transactional world, it has gained the status of being mentioned as the meaning of words, etc. Okay. Again, Shabda Artha Adi Padat. So whenever Anandagiri, the Tika I was reading, any Adi, etc. is there, he gets an opportunity to write some Tika there, correct? Some notes, some commentary. So he says Adi Pada, Mana Meyadi, like that he is saying. Mana and Meya also you have to include with the Shabdartha. Means Mana is the Pramana. So now that Brahman itself is available for Pramana Vyapara to know, correct? You do using the words. So it becomes the known through the through this Shabda Pramana itself. So that's what you have in the for the Adi Pada, you have to add Mana Meya. So it is now that Brahman itself is now available for recognition. Understand that. Okay, only in the Buddhi Upadhi only Brahman can be recognized because it is available there. So it is now available there for you. Vyavahara Vishaya Apannasya. And of that Brahman only what? Purastad Anuttani Upasanani. So that Sopadika Brahman or Saguna Brahman alone can be useful for any Upasana, correct? The Nirupadika Brahma, you cannot do any Upasana. Nirupadika Brahman is only for knowing. It's only for knowing or for the sake of knowledge. So here again, Upasanas have to be talked about, which have not been previously said, correct? Purastad Anuttani Upasanani. So the Upasana of this Sopadika Brahman or Saguna Brahman, which is now available for Vyavahara. And those Upasanas, what is the nature of that Upasana? Karma bihi, abhiruddhani, they are not contradictory to karma, because Upasana itself is a manasam karma. Okay, it is a activity, it is a mental activity. And by doing this Upasana, what can you gain? You can gain something here and also moksha. That's what Bhashyakara is saying. Prakrishta Abhyudaya Sadhanani. Prakrishta Abhyudaya means what? You can get great, you can accomplish great things here, or great wealth, or great prosperity. Abhyudaya means that only. You can get things here or even in Swarga, etc. And Krama Mukti Bhanji means what? It is the one which can give you Krama Mukti also. if you do lots of karma and upasana and you have so much punya, you go to Brahma Loka and Brahmaji will teach the same thing there to you and you get moksha there. The Krama Mukti is also accepted by the Advaitins. It is talked about even in the Gita and even in the Brahma Sutra also. Sutras are there which talk about the Krama Mukti. So here Bhashyakara is saying the upasanas can also give you Krama Mukti. And those have to be now said, correct? Tani Vaktavyani iti Paraha Sandarbhaha. So those have to be said. That is what is now going to come later now. Okay, later there is an opportunity for saying all these upasanas. That's why this Kilakanda is starting. And further, what the Upanishad wants to reveal here is saying Sarvopas Upasana Sheshatvena Omkaraha. So the Omkara Upasana or Omkara itself is to be a part of every Upasana. In fact, the most important Upasana for a Vedantin is the Omkara Upasana. The Omkara Upasana is prescribed in many Upanishads, in Mandukya Upanishad, in Mundaka Upanishad, and even here in Brhadaranyaka we saw. And even in the Panchadashi, Vidyaranya says, for the Mumukshus, Dirgha Omkara Upasana one has to do. That is the best for gaining certain Chitta Naishchalyam, okay, and focusing on this Brahma Vidya. Because Om itself is the word which denotes Brahman. Okay, Om iti Brahma, Om iti Dagum Sarvam, all these things. Even in Taittiriya Upanishad also the Omkara Upasana is there. So like this Omkara is Sarva Upasana. Shesha means what? It is part of every Upasana. You have to do Omkara, Upasana. Then other things also. Dhamma means restraint or mastery, correct? Shamadhamadi we say. Dhanam, you have to give dana. Again, the ability to give dana means it shows a certain magnanimity, means what? Certain bigness of your heart, correct? If you are going to own up to your own limitlessness, even relatively as an individual, you should have a big heart. You cannot be somebody who is saying that I will have Brahmanishta and you cannot even part with some small thing. You cannot be a kanjus or whatever, correct? You cannot be a miser. So Dhanam is, and also again, Dhanam, how one has to give and all, in the Gita, Bhagavan says beautifully. So Datavyam iti yad dhanam diyate anupakarine. That is the Sattvika Dana, he says. You give because you have to give. Because the situation is like that. The situation is presenting in such a manner that you have to give, means you give. Datavyam iti yad dhanam diyate. And also you give what? Anupakarine, without expecting anything in return. If you expect something in return, it is not dana. It is only a, it is what? It is only a business transaction, correct? Right, nowadays, all these countries say they give aid to poor countries and all that. But then that it is not a real aid. They will say that with that aid money, you have to buy only from us something, from our companies. And that will be again exorbitant rate and all that. So there is no real aid or anything. There is no free lunch as it is said in US. But anyway, Dhanam means you give without expecting any upakara in return. You are not expecting anything back. Like this, that is a value. That is something to be cultivated even as an individual. And daya also, compassion, correct? This, the ability to empathize with everybody is naturally there, but somehow while growing up, due to one's own selfishness and all that, we lose that ability to empathize with others. It's a natural thing which is there. So one need not really curtail it or really condition oneself so that one does not have empathy. One should have empathy, which again expresses itself as some compassionate act, etc. So all these things also the Upanishad is going to talk about. It will mandate, in fact, ityetani cha viditsitani. So these have to be told. Therefore, this section is starting. That is the idea here. This is the introduction to this section. Then Bhashyakara is giving the meaning for the Purna Madaha Purnamidam. In fact, he looks at it in two ways. It is the starting of this particular Kilakanda, means whatever upasanas which are said in the Kilakanda also, they are all sadhana for this Brahma Vidya which is revealed by the Shanti Mantra itself, correct? That's what he already said. All these upasanas are nothing but they are all sadhana for this Brahma Vidya only. And also it is like a upasamhara for whatever teaching which was started in the first chapter. Both ways he is looking at it. So he will talk about that. So here Purna Madaha means Purnam. What is the meaning of the word Purnam? Na kutaschid vyavrittam means that which is not limited or delimited or it has in no bounds. That which is not bound by anything, limited by anything, by it is the limitless in fact. In fact, Vyapi, that which is pervading everything. All pervading, limitless entity, that is Purna. And this Purna word itself is an interesting word, correct? Suddenly Bhashyakara is giving you a grammatical point here. Here he says, Nishtacha Kartari Drashtavya, he says. So here the Purna Shabda comes from the Pr Dhatu, and actually it is a Ikta Pratyaya comes there. It is a Ikta Pratyaya means it is basically in English we say it as past participle and all that. See, the Pr Dhatu comes in the meaning of fill, let us say. Means normally the Ikta Pratyaya comes in the meaning of filled, that which is filled, complete, like that also we can take. Okay, filled, Ikta Pratyaya. The Ikta Pratyaya only is substituted by and then it becomes, the Pru becomes Pur and all that. There are some sutras for that. I don't want to get into Paniniya Vyakarana here. Those who are interested, you can go and do your own research on that. But the Purna, here he is saying you have to take it as Kartari, because past participle means filled means that it's something like it is objective, correct? It becomes passive. But here we have to take it as the agent, the meaning of, even though it is Ikta Pratyaya, the Kartari only you have to take it. Okay, Vishtacha Kartari Drashtavya, he says, means it is like the filler. It's filled also, but it is also the filler. Like that we have to take. It is complete in itself in all ways. That's what is really meant. But it also completes everything else which is seen here, correct? So that way also we have to look at it. Therefore, Adaha iti Paroksha Abhidhayi Sarvanama. So Sarvanama means a pronoun. And Abhidhayi, Paroksha Abhidhayi means what? This is a pronoun which is talking about something which is not directly available, correct? Which is remote. Paroksha means remote. So others means that. That is a pronoun which refers to something which is remote. Means generally what is remote means Brahman, because Brahman is not something we know. Only the Shastra has to reveal to us that Brahman Jagat Karanam is there, correct? So always others, tat, all these pronouns which are remote refer to Brahman. So tat param brahma ityarthaha. So the adaha, purnam adaha refers to the param brahma, nirupadika brahma. In fact, the Brahman which is in one way remote because it is only introduced to you by the Shruti. Tat sampurnam akashadi vyapi, akashavad vyapi, nirantaram nirupadikam cha. That's what he is now explaining, that Brahma is not sopadika Brahma here. Purnam adaha when it is said, because adaha also remote in the sense of transcending this creation. Okay, right now we are in creation, means the subject-object duality is there. There is a manifest world is there, correct? But when we talk about that as a remote thing, when there was no Karya Jagat itself, okay? So that means that Brahman is really the Nirupadika Brahma, which is Akashavad Vyapi, but that alone pervades everything even now. Okay, that is the idea. It is there always in the same way. Nirantaram means it never undergoes any modification. It is available invariably, unchangingly as the same thing, same conscious entity always. That Nirupadikam cha Tadeva idam sopadikam namarupastam vyavaharapannam purnam svena rupena paramatmana vyapya Vyapi eva. Okay, not Vyapya, Vyapi eva. So what he is saying is, Tadeva idam. So Purna Madaha Purna Midam, when we say this, so that Brahman alone is now available as this also, as the Sopadika Brahman. Okay, Sopadikam Brahma means what? Nama Rupastam, which is available within all this Nama Rupa, both as the subject and object, and which is now subjected to, or which is now available for Vyavahara. Vyavahara Apanna, it is available to do transactions because the subjective and the objective worlds are there, and subject object is there, and therefore the transactions can happen between the subjects and the objects. Nama Rupastam, it is now there available in between all these names and forms. But even now, by its own nature, if you see, Svena Rupena, Paramatmana Vyapyeva, it is as Paramatma, it is the one which pervades the subject and object, everything which is there here, and it is not limited by any of these conditioning factors because they are not real. Okay, now Upadi Parichinnena Visheshatmana. Okay, so you should not take that Brahman has now become limited by the Upadi. But Ajnanis take like that, correct? That is the whole samsara. Whatever we talk as samsara is nothing but knowing oneself as a limited being, embodied being, correct? You are bound in a particular body. That's how people take Vishesha Atma. That's what qualified by a particular body, mind, sense complex. But that's not true. So he says, Na upadi parichinnena visheshatmana. Therefore, what tadidam visheshapannam karyatmakam brahma purnat karanatmanaha udachyate udrichyate udgachati ityetat. So Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. That's what now he is commenting on. Purnat Purnamudachyate. So Udachyate means Udrichyate, he says. Udgachyate means this is born from that, or which has come out of that, like that we can take. Udrichyate means. So what has come out of what? Means Purnat Karanatmanaha, from the Purna which was talked about as Purnamadaha, from the Karanatmakam Brahma, the Brahman which is in the form of Jagat Karanam, this Karyatmakam Brahma, the Brahman which is now available as this Jagat, correct? As the Nama Rupatmakam Jagat, Visheshapannam, which is as though gained all these qualities, correct? So this Idam Visheshapannam Karyatmakam Brahma, this Brahman which is now available in the form of Karya and which is having all these qualities, it has now come from this, that Brahman which is Purnat Karanatmanaha, from the Purnam Brahma which is Karanatmanaha, Karanatma. So both are Purnam. Even now as Karya also the same Brahman, Purnam Brahma is there. That is the idea here. So that's what he is explaining now. Yadyapi Karyatmana Udrichyate Tathapi Yat Swarupam Purnatvam Paramatma Bhavam Tanna Jahati Purnameva Udrichyate. So Purnat Purna Mudachyate is there, correct? From that Purna, this Purna has come means just because it has become Karya, has anything changed in that Brahman means nothing has changed. It is not like milk has become curd, means the milk is gone. It is no more there. In that manner, you cannot take it. So even though it has been born as this Karyatma in the form of Karya, even then what Tatapi, yet Swarupam Purnatvam, whatever Purnatvam which was its Swarupa, which was there, the Paramatma Bhava, it doesn't give it up. Tanna Jahati Purnameva Udrichyate. So it is born as Purna only. And again what? Purnasya Purnamadaya means you take this Purna from this Purna which is there as this Namarupatmakam Jagat. So Purnasya Karyatmanaha Brahmanaha Purnatvam Adaya Grihitva. Grihitva means you are taking or holding, correct? Taking away this Purnam, then what happens? Purnameva Avashishyate. Even if you take away all the Namarupa, correct, and you take away the Purnam Brahma from that, it still remains as Purnam, because even if the Namarupa goes, this Brahman still remains as Purnam only. It is complete. It is not in any way, it has not changed. Okay. So, Purnasya Karyatmanaha Brahmanaha Purnam Purnatvam Adaya Grihitva Atmaswarupa Ekarasatvam Apadya Vidyaya. So by Vidya, by knowledge, you are now doing Atma Anatma Viveka, correct? Or Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, Satya Asatya Sattu Vastu Viveka, with different kinds of Viveka, you do Tattva Viveka. Then you get this Tattva Jnanam, Vidya, and then you understand this Brahman is only Ekarasam, even though it appears as all these different objects, but in reality, it is one homogeneous entity without any division, without any kind of vikalpa, right? Any kind of distinctness or difference you cannot see in it. It is one whole always. It has always remained in the same manner only, unchanging, invariable reality. So Atma, and it is not separate from yourself. It is yourself only. Atma Swarupa Ekarasatvam Apadya Vidyaya. So once you know in this manner, what happens? Avidya Kritam Bhuta Matra Upadhi Samsargajam Anyatva Avabhasam Tiraskritya. So having giving up what? Anyatva Avabhasam, whatever is shining as something else other than you. In fact, there is nothing other than you really. Everything is this Brahman. This Brahman is yourself. So only yourself alone is appearing as both the subject and object. The entire objective world and the subject, everything is really yourself alone. That is the jnanam. So with this jnanam, this subject-object duality, which is purely avidya krita, it is created by this avidya alone. The mula vidya is the one which creates this subject-object duality and makes you take it as real, correct? That is nothing, that is purely because what bhuta matra upadhi samsargajam. So it is purely due to the connection with the upadhi. The nirupadikam brahma, once it is connected with the upadhis, then due to avidya it is taken as real, that as though it is now limited by the upadhis. All the beings, these upadhis are nothing but all these panchabhuta, etc., which themselves are only from the maya, correct? It's all only maya. So it is anyatva avabhasam tiraskritya, giving up all these notions of any division here, any otherness. Purnameva anantaram abhahyam prajnana ghana ekarasa swabhavam kevalam brahma avashishyate. So Purnameva avashishyate. Purnam alone is there. And what is the nature of that Purnam? Anantaram abhahya means it doesn't have any inside or outside and all that. It transcends space itself. And this prajnana ghana ekarasa swabhavam. It is of the homogeneous nature of consciousness. It is one only. It is one, and it doesn't have any division within itself or any other nature or anything. It is of the same nature, homogeneous, one nature. That alone is there, kevalam. So basically it is sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata, bheda rahitam. That comes out here also by all these adjectives which are given here, correct? That Brahman alone is there. Ekameva advitiyam Brahma alone remains. So that is the meaning of this. In fact, this Purnamadaha mantram itself, in the Anandagiri Tika, he is also talking about this. It is also a Mahavakya, really, correct? Even by saying Purnamadaha Purnamidam, we can even take that Purnamadaha Purnamidam itself is a Mahavakya, really. Why? Because Purnamadaha talks about the Brahma, Purnamidam talks about this, means already the Jiva has come, correct? Because this is appearing to whom? To the individual. Because whenever you say Yushmat, Asmat also has to be there. Without Asmat, there is no Yushmat. If you say this, I have to be there. And who is this I? The I is the Jiva. But I also is Purnam, Brahma also is Purnam. And Purnam means limitless, Vyapi, Sarva Vyapi. Then you cannot have two limitless, correct? There can be only one limitless. That means Purnamadaha Purnamidam is a Mahavakya, which is telling that the Jiva is also limitless, Brahman also is limitless, therefore both Jiva and Brahman are one and the same. So it is Lakshyartha Param, he says. Anandagiri is saying Purnamadaha Purnamidam is Lakshyartha Para. Purnat Purnamudachyate. That is Vachyartha Para. Because once you say Purnat Purnam Udachyate, something is born, whatever is born is Sopadika, that Bhashyakara himself says, correct? So there it is Vachyartha. Okay. But even when the Vachyartha is there, then there is no Aikyam between Jiva and Brahman, or Jagat Karanam Brahma, which is Ishvara. Jiveshwara Aikya you cannot give in Vachyartha. Ishvara is all knowing, all powerful, etc. You are small knowing, small powerful, all that. So there is no question of any Aikya there. So again, if you have to do Aikya, what is the teaching? So now you have done the Adhyaropa, you can say in one way, by talking about Purnat Purna Mudachyate means that is the Shastra Adhyaropa really. Then again Apavada is done. What? Purnasya Purna Madaya means you take away the Karanam Brahma from the Karya. Means does the Karya remain? Then means it cannot remain, correct? There is no Karya anymore. Because the very existence of the Karya is only due to the Karana. If you take away the clay from the clay pot, will anything like pot remain? It cannot remain, correct? You need not even physically take away. Even in your understanding of clay, there is no partness. Just you shift the standpoint. You looked at an elephant. You think it is a real elephant. You are afraid. Then you know it is only wood. Once you see it as wood, you don't even have to destroy the elephant or anything, correct? You don't have to break it. It is still an elephant sculpture. It looks so real. Dimensions are all also like that. Painted also like that. And lighting effect also is like that, that it looks real. But then somebody says, no, it is only wood. Once you look at it as wood, where has the elephant gone? Elephant is gone, correct? There is no more elephant. You have taken away the elephantness. Even though it is appearing still like that, once you remove, you take away the Purna, the Karana from the Karya doesn't remain anymore there. Karanam alone is real, and that is there as Param Brahma alone again. So the Apavada is done in the next. And again, Brahma Satyam, that is not separate from you, that alone is shown here. So this Purnamadaha mantram is a Mahavakya, and it is also a complete teaching in itself. Everything is there in this one mantra. That's why I told you, if you learn this mantra's meaning properly, you have understood the entire Vedanta. You don't require anything. But I think my Guruji used to always say that some Englishman wanted to translate all this Veda and all that, correct? They went to study. I don't know who it is. So, so he went to the Pandit ji first Shanti mantra, Purnamadav. In fact, in North India, the Shukla Yajurvedis chant it in a different manner, okay? Purnamadav, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnamevava, Shishyate, like that. Okay. Anyway, so they have their own way of chanting it. So then the meaning. What is the meaning? That is whole. This is whole. From that whole came this whole. You remove that whole from this whole, whatever remains is whole. Correct? Like this, he translated that. And he didn't understand anything, the Englishman. Then it seems he wrote a preface. This is the prattling of an infantile mind, like that. I don't know where Swamiji read or in which book he read it. He used to say this, but so the English people translated this first, and then what did they think about it? They thought it is the prattling of an infantile mind. Anyway, that is because that's why you have to learn everything from a proper guru, correct? Guru Upadesha is so important. If you just read English books also, it is not good enough. The teaching has to be given by a guru, and the proper methodology has to be followed. Otherwise, these things you cannot really understand properly. Anyway, so now Bhashyakara has given the meaning. Now he is showing this Purnamada Purnamidam itself is nothing but a Upasamhara, because the Vedanta teaching started with 1.4.10. He is quoting that, correct? Yaduktam Brahma va idam agre asit tad atmanameva avet aham brahmasmiti tasmat tat sarvam abhavat. That aham brahmasmiti they have not given here, but it is there. That the aham brahmasmi mantra only this is. Okay. So this is the 1/4 iti yeshaha asya mantrasya arthaha. So this mantra's meaning also is the same as what was begun. The beginning of the Brahma Vidya is there in the 4th Brahmana of the 1st chapter. Now it is ending. And the ending also talks about the same thing. The Upakrama and Upasamhara has to be same normally. That also he is pointing out here. So how it is same? Now he is showing that himself. Yesha asya mantrarthaha, mantrasya arthaha. How is it means? He is saying Tatra Brahma ityasya arthaha purnamadaha iti. So here whatever you are saying purnamadaha, that is the Brahma Shabda there. Brahmava, like that is there, correct? Brahmava means that Brahma is purnamadaha. Then idam purnamiti, purnamidam is there, correct? That is Brahmava, idam agre asit ityasya arthaha. But idam agre asit means what? There also it is talking about an agre and idam. Both are there, correct? Here purnamadaha, purnamidam. There agre Brahma, idam Brahma. Both are there. Even in that you have to take. So Brahmava idam agre asit. This Brahman alone was there before means what? There was a Brahman which was there before Purnamadaha. That Brahman alone is there now also, Purnamidam. But idam means, like I said, the idam Brahma is Ajnani Brahma, Jiva Brahma. Correct? It has become Jivan, idam. And then how did it become Brahman again? Means it's easy. Tad Atmanameva Vet. It knew itself. It did not do anything else. It did not do anything else, in fact, because that's the reality. Okay, it is the same Brahman. So tad Atmanameva Eva Vet. It knew itself. How? Aham Brahmasmi iti. Knew itself as I am this Brahman, I am Brahman, Aham Brahma iti. And then what is the phala? Tasmat tat sarvam abhavat. It became everything. That is because it is Purna. It was Purna, it is Purna, and it became Apurna because of Ajnanam. Then again it gained Jnanam. Atmanameva avet aham brahmasmi iti. Then what? Again it became Purna. This is the whole story. The same story is said in this mantra also, correct? Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. So that exactly is there. So that is the beginning. This is the end. Upasamhara. So he is showing that. So idam purnamiti brahmava idam agre asit ityasya artaha tata cha shrutyantaram. Similarly, there is another shruti also talking about the same similar thing in Kathopanishad. Yadeva iha tadamutra yadamutra tad anviha. In fact, this is a very famous vakya in Kathopanishad. Okay. In fact, the next line also is very important. Ya iha nana iva pashyati sa mrityoho mrityum apnoti and all that is there. So whatever was there then, correct, is the same thing now or this. Okay. Amutra means that then. Iha means here now. So whatever was there is there here also. So yadeva iha tadamutra. Whatever is here was there. Whatever was there, yad amutra tad anviha. That alone you have to understand as being now here. Means what is the meaning? Same meaning here. That Brahman is not limited by any upadhi. Right now you may think that you are a limited being embodied in a particular body mind sense complex. I am this puny individual. That's not the truth. Whatever is available here also as I is the same Brahman which was there as Jagat Karanam, and that alone has become this. Okay, and that you have to, and but if you now see, if you still see Nana, if you see multiplicity, even now plurality, then you will go from death to death only. Correct? There is no immortality then. You will always be a mortal till that time you see plurality here. So the oneness has to be understood. So this is there in the Kathopanishad Vakya also. Bhashyakara is quoting that to just show that the same theme is talked about in different Upanishads. Therefore, what? Ataha adashabdavachyam purnam brahma तदेव इदं पूर्णं कार्यस्थं नाम रूप उपाधि संयुक्तम् अविद्यया उद्रिक्तं तस्मादेव परमार्थ स्वरूपात् अन्यदिव प्रत्यवभासमानं तत् यत् आत्मानमेव परं पूर्णं ब्रह्म विदित्वा अहम् अधः पूर्णं ब्रह्मास्मि इत्येवं पूर्णमादाय तिरस्कृत्य अपूर्णस्वरूपताम् अविद्याकृतां नाम रूप उपाधि संपर्कजाम् एतया ब्रह्म विद्यया पूर्णमेव केवलम् अवशिष्यते तथा च उक्तं तस्मात् तत् सर्वम् अभवत् इति. Okay, now he is giving the entire summary of whatever he was talking about, correct? So what he is saying? He is saying therefore ataha. Then what other shabda vacham? The meaning of that is what? Purnam Brahma. Okay, which is Karanam Brahma. So Tadeva Idam Purnam, the same thing is now this Purna also right now which is available. What is that Karyastam in the effect? Whatever was the Karanam Brahma is also now is appearing as the Karyam Brahma and which is connected to all the Nama Rupa Upadhi, correct? Names, forms and different conditioning factors with names and forms, Nama Rupa Upadhi Sanyuktam. And all these things, how have they come? Have they really come? Means no, avidyaya udriktam, they have only come due to avidya. It's all Maya, Mayaya, avidyaya. So they are born only due to avidya. It's not a real thing which is there here. Therefore, what? Because of that only, tasmadeva paramartha swarupat anyad iva pratyava bhasamanam. Therefore, they are shining as though they are different from this karanam paramartha swarupam brahma. And that now what? How you have to know? Yat atmanameva parampurnam brahma viditva. That alone is known as this, as one's own atma, correct? Atmanameva, you know that Brahma itself, that Karanam Brahma, which is appearing as the Karya here, and which is as though appearing as many different subjects and objects, you know that as yourself. Atmanameva parampurnam Brahma viditva, knowing this, then what? Aham adasham adaha purnam brahmasmi. So aham brahmasmi. Now he is bringing the aham brahmasmi in the 1-4-10 vakya here. Okay. So brahmava idam agre asit tad atmanam eva avet aham brahmasmi iti. So that aham brahmasmi iti evam. So in this manner, knowing oneself as Brahman means that's what purna madaya grihitva. You know yourself. You take yourself as this Purnam Brahma, that is my Swarupa. And by this, what happens? You give up the Apurnatvam, Tiraskritya, Apurna Swarupatam. You give up the notion that I am a limited being, your own limitations, etc. You surrender. The greatest surrender is what? Surrender your individuality, because that is a limitation, really speaking. It is not even intrinsic to you. Why are you holding on to an individuality which is not even intrinsic to you? It comes and goes, it changes. The waking individuality is there only in waking. It is completely replaced by some other thing in dream. It is not even there in deep sleep. But I am there always as a conscious entity. So the I, which is continuing throughout, is only a conscious entity, the consciousness which is nothing but Brahman. Don't take that the waker is continuing through. Waker is not continuing through all the states. Waker is completely replaced in dream and deep sleep. Understand that. So there is no continuity for the waker. But the problem is you take yourself as a waker and think that the waker is continuing everywhere and then become a samsari, because then you take yourself as a limited being. This is the whole problem. Give up this individuality. Give up all limitations, in fact. That is the greatest surrender, correct? Many other people also talk about Sharanagati and all that. What is the Sharanagati? Holding on to yourself as an individual, you can never do any Sharanagati. Sharanagati means you give up all your limitation. Then you will discover that you are the limitless. There is no other way, correct? So, Tiraskritya, giving up, Apurna Swarupatam, Avidya Kritam, and all this, whatever you are giving up is really what is born due to Avidya. It is all due to ignorance. Nama Rupa Upadhi Samparkajam, which is born due to the Samparka connection, a relationship between Nama and Rupa Upadhi. The conditioning factors with names and forms, it is all these limitations are born due to your connection with all these things. are taking it as real. There is no real connection really, but still. And how do you give up? Etaya Brahma Vidyaya. With this Brahma Vidya, with knowledge, you destroy the ignorance, and whatever is there is the reality which is as it is. And then what is there means Purnam Eva Kevalam Avashishyate. It is Purnam Brahma alone is there as your Atma, yourself. And this is what was said there also, correct? Tata Chauktam Tasmat Tat Sarvam Abhavatiti. So therefore, whatever was said there in 1.4.10 is the same which is said in the Purnamadaha Purnamidam mantram also. So it is all, both these things are actually talking about the same thing. So one we can take it as Upakrama, this is the Upasamhara. Okay. So it is not only the meaning of that 1.4.10. So Bhashyakara even makes it even bigger. He says, Yaha Sarva Upanishad Artaha Brahma Sa Yeshaha Anena Mantrena Anudyate Uttara Sambandhartham. Now he is now taking this Purnamada mantra as a connectivity to whatever is going to come. He is connecting with that. Okay. So whatever is the Upanishad Artaha, all the Upanishads are teaching this Brahman alone. That alone is also revealed by this mantra. And that is revealed for having this as the main connection for everything else which is going to be talked about in the Kilakanda, because even though Kilakanda is a collection and it doesn't have, it is talking about different topics. There is no flow or anything. But all of them are connected to this Brahma. That's why this is there in the beginning. So like this also he is connecting it. So Uttara Sambandhartham. And what is this Sambandha? He is saying Brahma Vidya Sadhanatvena hi Vaksyamanani Sadhanani Omkara Dama Dana Dayakhyani Viditsitani Khila Prakarana Sambandhat Sarva Upasananga Bhutani Cha. So this Brahma Vidya Sadhanatvena. So whatever is going to be said, Vaksyamanani, which is going to be said, is all connected to this Brahma Vidya. That's why the Brahma Vidya is now presented in a summarized manner in this Purnamadaha mantra. And they are all going to be the sadhana for this Brahma Vidya. So sadhana, what kind of sadhana? Omkara Upasana, Dhamma, Dana, Dayakyani, all these things also values, they are all going to be mandated. And also what this Omkara Upasana and all these values also are actually Sarva Upasana Anga Bhutani also. They are part of all the different upasanas. Whichever upasana you do, all these things also have to be there. So that again will be shown in this Khila Prakarana, and that is the whatever. This is the introduction he has given along with the meaning. Now, in fact, he takes up Purvapaksha Siddhanta here, because the Bhartri Prapancha, in fact, whose commentary was the most famous at that time before Bhashyakara. Now, Bhashyakara has written this commentary mainly to refute his views. And after Bhashyakara refuted, that Bhartri Prapancha's commentary is not even available now. We only know it from the references here and references from other Tikakaras. So now he is saying, Atra Eke Varnayanti, this Bhartri Prapancha is now commenting on this differently. He is saying, what? Purnat Karanat Purnam Karyam Udrichyate. Okay, they also say, from the Karanam Brahma, which is Purna, this Karyam Brahma Purnam has come. But the thing is what? They say both are real. Advaitam also is real, Dvaitam also is real. So he talked about like this. Okay, the Brahman is both Dvaita and Advaitatmaka. Bheda. Also you can say. Okay. So it is Abheda also, Brahman. As Karana it is Abheda. As Karya there is Bheda, now they are talking about. So Udriktam Karyam Vartamana Kalepi Purnameva Paramartha Vastu Bhutam Dvaita Rupena. So whatever Karya which is born, even now in the Vartamana Kala, in present time, is also Purna, it is complete, and it is also Paramartha Swarupa Bhuta, but it is in the form of Dvaita now, he is saying. Dvaita Rupena. Even the Dvaita is real, because it is also the same Paramartha Vastu, the ultimate entity, Brahman, which is complete, limitless alone, is appearing as this Dvaita. In fact, we cannot say appearing. It is now there in the form of the Karya for them. And so Dvaita also is Satyam because it is Paramartha for them. It is real. Real. From the Advaita Karana, real Dvaita Karya has come. Somehow they want to give reality to the Karya by itself. And again what they say, Punaha Pralaya Kale, Purnasya Karyasya Purnatam Adaya, Atmani Dhitva Purnameva Vashishyate Karana Rupam. And again they say during Pralaya what happens? This the Purnatam from the Purna Karya, you remove the Purnatam. Purnatam Adaya, you take it away and you put it in the Atma itself, which is Brahman, means everything becomes unmanifest again. Or we cannot say even unmanifest. For them, creation and resolution is not really manifestation and unmanifestation. It is real birth and then it is destroyed, but it again goes back into Atma itself, the Paramatma itself as Advitiya Karana Rupa. Okay. So Purnameva, the Karana Rupa alone is still there. Means a real part was born from the clay. Upon destruction of the, from the clay, upon destruction of the part, again it is there as clay. As clay it is Advitiya. As parts it is many, correct? This is the kind of thing they are talking about, but the part exists independently for them. Dvaita is real. And evam उत्पत्ति स्थिति प्रलयेषु त्रिषु अपि कालेषु कार्य कारणयोः पूर्णता एव. So in this manner they are saying whether it is during creation or during sustenance or during destruction or pralaya, in all the three times, at all the three times, this karya and karana are purna because only the Param Brahma, which is purna, which is limitless, is appearing as all, or which is there, correct? Which is giving the purnatvam to all these things. And therefore, what he is saying, Sacha eka eva purnata karya karanayoho bhedena vyapadishyate. So the Shruti is mentioning this one vastu itself as both karya and karana. Okay. And when it is karana, it is advaita. When it is karya, it is dvaita, but it is only one which is appearing. Initially, it appears as Advaitam Karanam, then it becomes Dvaita Karya. Then again, the Dvaita Karya is destroyed, it is now Advaita Karana. Like even Bija and a tree. See, the tree was there as unmanifest, correct? Abhyakta in the seed. But once the seed is destroyed and tree comes, now tree is also one, you can say, from Avayava, Avevi Bhava, there is one tree, but manyness is still there, correct? That's what they are saying. It is still one, even when the karya is there, but as the whole, it is one, but as parts, it is many. But once the parts are all gone, and again becomes the seed, means it is only one. It is a partless one. Like this, they have some idea like this. Okay, that means what they are saying, both Dvaita and Advaita Atmakam Brahma. So, evam cha Dvaita Advaita Atmakam Ekam Brahma. This one Brahman alone is both Dvaita and Advaita. This is his whatever philosophy, we can say, his opinion. And why is he giving this opinion? There has to be some motivation, correct? Because for them, if you don't have like this, the karma kanda will become apramana. That is their main problem. Okay? Because if you say Dvaita is not real, then the entire karma also will become not real. And the Veda as a means of knowledge which is revealing karma also will become not real for them. Everything will become unreal. Yeah. So karma kanda, the jnana kanda cannot contradict and make the karma kanda apramana because they are part of the same Veda. So he is saying there will be this problem of this virodha will be there, he is saying. So to avoid that, we have to take both as real, then both karma kanda and jnana kanda both will have pramanya. This is his argument. Okay. And he is even giving an analogy for that. In fact, this analogy we also give, correct? So yatha kila samudraha jala taranga kena budbudadi atmakaha eva yatha cha jalam satyam tad udbhavascha taranga phena budbudayaha samudratma bhuta eva avirbhava तिरोभाव धर्माणः परमार्थ सत्या एवं सर्वमिदं द्वैतं परमार्थ सत्यमेव जलतरंगादि स्थानीयं samudra jalasthaniyam tu param brahma. So he has given beautifully this example. What the example of water, sea, and different things like waves, foam, bubbles, and all that. Correct. So the ocean itself has all these parts, and it is available. Water also is ocean. Water is there in the ocean, but there also waves are there, and then foam. Pena is foam. Budbuda means bubbles. But it is one ocean, correct? Let us say. And in that the jalam is satyam. It is always water only is the truth. But from that water only waves are born, foam is born, bubbles are born, correct? Taranga pena budbudayaha tat udbhavascha. But they are all samudratma bhuta, but they are all ocean only. The water, wave, foam, bubble, everything is really water only. It is everything is only ocean, and but they come and go. Avirbhava, Tirobhava, Dharmanaha, the waves, foam, and bubbles can come and go, but still they are Satyam. They are really appearing, then they are destroyed or they really disappear, but they are Paramartha Satya, even though they have Avirbhava and Tirobhava. Similarly, what Evam in this manner, Sarva Vidam Dvaitam Paramartha Satyameva, so the entire Dvaita which is available here is all Paramartha Satyam. And they are all, you have to now understand in the analogy, they are in the like the Jala Tarangadi Sthaniyam. So they take the place of the water, wave, foam, bubbles, etc. The Dvaita Jagat now. But the ocean itself is Param Brahma, it is always there. Samudra Jalasthaniyam to Param Brahma. So that is the Karanam. So this is how you have to take. I have now reconciled. I have made sure in my explanation that both the karma kanda and jnana kanda are pramana. So he is saying evan chakila dvaitasya satyatve karma kandasya pramanyam. So this is his motivation. So why am I giving this kind of an explanation? I am doing this kalpana or my imagination is like this because in this manner if I say take it, then dvaita being satya, karma kanda will have pramanya. Okay, it is valid knowledge. Otherwise, what yada punar dvaitam iva avidya kritam mrigatrishnika vat anritam advaitam eva paramartataha tada kila karma kandam vishaya bhavat apramanam bhavati. But if I take like what you are saying, it is dvaitam iva. That Upanishad itself is saying nana iva, dvaitam iva and all that. It's not our imagination. So, but he still is saying, no, if you take it as Dvaita Miva, and if you say that the entire Dvaita is Avidya Krita, it is like mirage water, Brihatrishnika Avate, it is false, then Advaita alone will become Paramartha Satya. You will say that the Upanishad is only teaching Advaitam Eva Paramartha Satyam, means Dvaita is no more Satya. Then what will happen? Tadakila, Karma Kanda Vishaya Bhava, the Karma Kanda will not have any subject matter or Vishaya anymore because the Karma Kanda Vishaya itself will become Anrita. Because karma kanda means without dvaita there is no karma kanda, correct? There are you have to have the karakas, the karta, karma, karana, sampradana, etc. Without all these things, you cannot do the factors of action and then the difference between sadhana and sadhya, correct? Phala is there, kriya and phala. All these differences without them, if you make all of them false, then karma kanda will not have any vishaya to talk about and it will become apramana. And if it is so, then tatacha virodha yavasya, then there will be only virodha. There will be contradiction because in the same grantha, one portion of the grantha is now contradicting the other portion, but that cannot be true, he is saying. So this is the argument he has presented. But Bhashyakara will now present his own arguments. We'll see that in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.